Hi everyone, today Revolves and I are very happy to announce our latest mod for the IL-2 multiplayer community. If you have no clue about this, then you're in for a treat. We'll be introducing this mod with actual real data from the finished server in this video. Before we do that, just some quick intros. If this is your first time here, this channel focuses on multiplayer content where I break down gameplay with commentary. If you're interested in that sort of thing, then please subscribe to the channel because it helps so much and I would really appreciate it. This mod is called the Global Aircraft Stats mod. Global is in the name because it calculates the performance of aircraft across all sorties and not just individuals. So instead of looking at the stats of players or squads, you'll be able to see the performance of an aircraft model across an entire tour with all of the players counting into it. If you have wondered about what plane is better versus another, then this stat system will be able to show you that. The reason why we made this mod is to facilitate better discussions about plane performance that is rooted in data instead of just anecdotal experiences. So I'm excited to show this, but I need to get through two more things. One, Revolves made all of the code. I support it from a project management point of view, but Revolves coded everything. Now the second thing is that I would like to remind everyone that chances are you do not have a deep background in statistics. And just because you have the data doesn't necessarily mean that you understand the data. There are a lot of nuances to take into consideration when reviewing numbers. So I just say that as a warning, just be a little careful when you're looking at the data, okay? Okay, so with all that said, we can finally get into it. Going into ranking, you see aircraft rankings. This is new, and all of the data is in here now. Instead of seeing players or squads, you see the data is arranged by aircraft type. And the finished server devs were nice enough to share 1 month's worth of log data from February. So we are actually looking at live data for basically almost the whole month of February. Now, what can we see here? We can see and sort by flight time. So in the month of February, the Spit 9 had the most flight time out of all other planes. We can see KD ratio. And before I click KD, I would like you to think for a second and try to guess what the top 3 planes are in terms of kill death ratio. Now, we see the 262, which, kind of makes sense. It's a jet after all. And then we see the G6 late. Now, I gave a caution earlier about, having the data, but not necessarily understanding the data. And one thing I want to point out here is that not all planes are available to players. The G6 late is stuck behind a paywall, aka Battle of Normandy. So, and we also see that the play time is very small with the G6 late in comparison to a lot of the other planes. If you can see here, the G6 late doesn't even rank in the top 20. So this is some sort of like selection bias going on. So I think it might be fair to say that these stats are slightly inflated and they'll come down when the plane is, publicly available and everyone's flying and dying with it. We have kills per hour. We have ground kills per death. We have ground kills per hour. And then we have gunner accuracy and bomb rocket accuracy. Now, we have some new ones in here, and this is plane durability, and it's defined on the bottom. Plane durability is a percent of sorties the plane survived after taking damage. And this was kind of surprising. 262 was actually quite high, or the number one. And then you can see that most of these are bomber. Interestingly enough, the P40 is up here, which actually doesn't surprise me now after thinking about it. Now we have plane lethality, and plane lethality is the percent of enemy aircraft which went down after taking damage from this plane, assist count. We see that the planes that can carry multiple 30 mils are on top, 4 Hispanos, quad cannons, 30 mils, and so on and so on. We have ELO, and I'm going to let Revolves explain ELO.
Hi guys, this is Revolves. I want to go into detail about one of the data points we've got inside this mod, namely the ELO data point. If you're already familiar with how rating works in CSGO or Dota, or how ELO works in chess, then this should seem familiar to you. The idea is that every plane starts off with 1500 ELO, and whenever a plane shoots down another plane, the rating of both types of planes gets updated. The winner gains some ELO, and the loser loses the same amount of ELO. The cool thing is the change in ELO depends on how much ELO the two planes started with. Basically, an unexpected outcome results in more ELO change than an expected outcome. After enough data has been processed, the plane with the highest ELO can be roughly seen as the plane which is most likely to win in an engagement against another randomly selected plane. So we've got another data point in this mod called rating, which is based off the rating already present in IL-2 stats for pilots and squads. The ELO of a plane can be seen in contrast to the rating of a plane, where ELO is more a measure of air-to-air capability, whereas rating is a measure of overall capability, meaning that rating also takes ground kills into account and ground kills per def and so on. And that's that for ELO. Another exciting feature of our mod is that you can compare JAVO variants of a plane to non-JAVO variants. If you look at the Focke-Wulf 190A5, for example, a popular plane to JAVO in, you'll notice we can switch from showing all the sorties at once to showing only the JAVO sorties and only the fighter sorties. Using this filter, you could, for example, compare the ground pounding performance of the 190 with the 110 without having all the fighter sorties polluting your data. Well, this is nice, but we've also got filters for upgraded engines. So you could, for example, see what impact the engine upgrade on an LA5 has. And just as a small disclaimer, I want to say a word of caution about the ELO displayed on filtered pages. The way the ELO system is set up is that ELO displayed on a filtered page should only be compared to the ELO displayed on another filtered page, meaning the filtered ELO of a plane should not be directly compared to the unfiltered ELO of a plane. Indeed, from our testing, ELO displayed on filtered variants of a plane tend to be a bit lower than the non-filtered variants. This is due to some technical reasons, and we've got more details about how the ELO system works in the README of the mod if you're interested. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this mod. I hope this mod will lead to some interesting discussions, and just maybe the system will make you consider flying out an airplane you haven't really considered before.
So now that Revolve has walked through that, I want to show you one last thing, and I kind of showed you already a little bit, but I want to show you the aircraft stats and killboard. So this looks pretty familiar, but it's only specific to this plane. The most interesting thing is actually the killboard, or I think it's really interesting. So from here, you can see the actual performance of the Tempest against every single plane type. And you can see, surprisingly, is that the Tempest has a exact 1-to-1 kill death ratio against a K4. Now you can filter this and say with upgraded engine and no bomb, and you can see how that impacts the performance against a K4. And you can also see what happens when it has bombs versus when it doesn't. So the KD ratio is 1.7. With upgraded engines and no bombs, the KD ratio shoots up. This is very neat, and it gets interesting when you go into ELO, because there are some planes that have really high ELOs, but not necessarily high ratings. So the P-51 is a great example, where the KD actually really shoots up when it has the juice fuel and it has no bombs. And also, interestingly enough, you can see that the Pony does extremely well against all aircraft, but it does not do well against a G6 late, which I actually found very interesting. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I do want to take a moment to say thank you to the Finnish and Combat Box admins for their time to review the system and to share their thoughts with us while we were building it. Thank you to Raptor Attacker for making the new graphics for the system. Thank you to Vaudu, Hawker Mark III, and Priyanichik for helping with translations. If you would like to get in touch with me, then feel free to join my new Discord community in the description. And if you would like to get in touch with the developer Revolves, he can be found in his Fuse Squadron Discord, which is also linked below. We genuinely hope that you guys like this new stat system. We hope it starts some interesting discussions, and I hope that you like this enough to subscribe to the channel. So thank you so much.
Bye.